Hey friend, I hope you're having a good day. So today I'm going to go ahead and talk about two of my shots. But before then, I want to mention something. So the mic that I'm using right here is a video, not the video mic Go 2 from Rode. And I can go ahead and connect that to the Rode Connect and just record everything on Rode Connect and then just sync everything after the fact. But I was using this screen right here. I was using that screen and it was like, I noticed that in the audio, it was actually, the plosives were like really, really harsh. So I ended up putting this dead cat on it. Usually I use this dead cat when I'm outside and, just so that you guys don't hear the wind and everything. But it seems to work for this much, the same. So I'm going to go ahead and just start using this all the time. And then later I'll upgrade my, my video mic type of mic. I'll upgrade my mic later. But I have some really exciting, options that I want to go ahead and get from, but we'll talk about that later. But for now, I also want to talk to you guys about this right here. So this right here is a book. I know this is not street photography related, but this right here is a book. It's called The Black Leviathan by Burned Purplies. So this book right here, I actually ended up picking it up over at Philadelphia. It was like a random bookstore really close to one of the rivers that is in Philadelphia that was like really close to the hostel where I was staying at. So I ended up finding that on the second floor. And what I found interesting about it, most of my books like these right here, I go ahead and like take off the actual cover just because I prefer them like this, like more slick. But I ended up finding that upstairs in the fantasy, like the Tor fantasy section right there. And I ended up liking it a lot because I ended up reading the description. And basically, this is a German author. I ended up finding this out later, but this is a German author that had their book translated over from German to English. And this is the only one of the series that was translated. So basically, I can't read any of the others. But what made this super interesting to me is that this book takes place in a world where people hunt dragons basically for food, for their hide. They use all parts of a dragon. And they treat dragons how we used to treat whales, where they would like hunt them down and then use everything, their oil and everything. That's basically how they have it. But they end up using these crystals to like float out, have like cities out in the sky, kind of like Cloud City from Star Wars, like those like huge cities and everything. And basically our main character is in one of those cities, and he is trying to get on one of those boats, one of those ships that go and hunt dragons because he's in trouble and he's trying to escape the city. But it's a really, really interesting book, mainly because it's also based on Moby Dick. But, dragons are like the bad guys because one of the big dragons on there, it's like, that's why it's called Black Leviathan, because it's like a huge black dragon that ended up killing somebody that was super close to somebody else in the story. And they ended up, now this person has like a vendetta that they want to kill this dragon that they've been wanting to get it for a while now. So I'm still reading it. It's a really, really good book, but just something really interesting that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And it's already 4 minutes. So let's go ahead and get into the street photography. Okay, so for the street photography, the first one is going to be 3 personalities. This shot right here. So for 3 personalities, what I found really interesting is that this right here is actually really close to the Bethesda Fountain. So whenever you go to the Bethesda Fountain in Central Park, you're going to end up being near the very center. There is like a huge alley in the center of Central Park that goes like a ways. And I ended up walking through there, taking pictures of people because there's people there that sell art, and there's people there just go and hang out and stuff like that. There's always a lot of people really close to the Bethesda Fountain right here. But what I really liked about this one is that this is not really saying that they have these specific personalities, but it's just really interesting to me because they are kind of showing like a specific personality in this exact moment in time that I captured. So what it is that the first guy that's in blue on the very left of the picture, he looks bold. He looks like, he's out, like not an introvert, an extrovert. He's just like, oh, let's take the day. And then the one in the middle kind of looks like super cautious. That's just the how his body is being portrayed. That's how I see it. What the movement that he's doing and everything. So that's why whenever I see him look to the side or like that with his hands in his pockets, he looks like he's being super cautious. And then the other one also has his hands in his pocket or taking them out, but he has a hood on and his hat all the way down, and it just looks like he's like super shy, like a complete introvert. So there's an extrovert at the very left, and then in the middle there's a super cautious guy that's just like looking all around, and then on the right side there is an introvert, which works out. And I just really liked how it shows like three different personalities, even though it's like the same group of friends. They're like all like almost completely different, besides the one in the middle that's just cautious. But I found it really interesting. That's why I ended up taking this picture. And then for the next one, this is called Morning Flurries. So this shot right here. So for Morning Flurries, what I really liked about it is that it is the only time that I've ever been in NYC when snow is actually falling. And it wasn't really like snow, it was like specks of ice. Well, I guess you could say it's snow, but I've never been in New York City whenever there's like a significant amount of snow. And I've been trying to make trips happen to where I can go there when it's snowing, but it just hasn't worked out for me. So more than likely this December, I had somebody ask me recently if I can do like a photo shoot for another one of the album covers. So more than likely it will be till this December that I end up going to New York City, and I'll see if I can be there when it's actually snowing. And if not, I'm gonna have to go back in January or February, because I really want to capture some street photography while it's like, there's snow everywhere. I really, really want to capture that. So, but this one I found really interesting because this was actually right after I ended up having breakfast at a very specific spot that I forgot about. But I really liked that. It was like, a normal like diner type of breakfast and everything. But I ended up coming out of there and I saw that it was snowing. I was like, oh, this is actually my last day there on that trip. And I was like, oh man, I really hope it, snows really, really hard so I can at least get a little bit of accumulation on the ground while I'm taking street photography. But no, it was literally only for like 2 hours that, these flurries ended up falling. But I still ended up being able to catch this picture, before the flurry stopped coming down. So I was still able to capture at least some street photography with it. But I definitely want to go back and do some street photography while there's snow everywhere. That will definitely be a check mark on my bucket list for New York City street photography. But yeah, those are the two shots. And tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and do some street photography in Dallas. I'm mainly going to do it from 6 a.m. probably on to 11, just because I know that the closer I get to 12 and 1, it's going to start to get really, really hot. And usually whenever I go out and do street photography, I at least want to do like 5 to 6 hours of walking around, and just so I get a significant amount of shots and I can just be in the vibe. And usually I'm wearing these headphones right here, these Bose headphones. And I'll be wearing them and I'll just like fall into rhythm and I'll just start doing street photography. But I'll go ahead and talk to you guys whenever I'm there, and I'll go ahead and talk about the picture that I'm going to go ahead and upload tonight. And then, we'll go from there. But I hope I see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll catch you guys next time.